Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got 10 greatest NBA conspiracy theories in history. Yes, conspiracies, guys. Do you believe them or do you not believe them? Do you feel like it's actually a thing, or do you think it's a bitch ass? Like, y'all let me know in the comment section below. Video by Austin Sweat. Link to his channel description below. Let's get going on this, man.
Conspiracy theories.
What are we waiting for, bro?
Never really covered on the channel, so I think now's a great time to talk about some of the craziest ones out there. And I'm not saying I completely believe every theory I'm going to be talking about, but I am going to be laying out the evidence that makes each one convincing, along with my own opinions, and then I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide whether you believe them or not. We're looking at 10 total, but 5 today, and the next 5 in a part 2 coming soon. But let's get into it, and start first with one of the biggest in the
NBA let's get into it.
And this is the subject that has the most conspiracies surrounding it.
Google.
And we're going through them all today. Now, selecting the order of the draft lottery has turned into this huge process of numbers and variables that choose which teams pick where. But to start, it wasn't always like that. Before 1985, the 2 worst teams flipped a coin to see who would get the number 1 pick, which is crazy to think about at this point. But 1985 was a turning point, and it was where the first conspiracy started. The league switched from a coin flip to putting 7 large
Let's go back to that coin flip, man. Like, there is no dog in the coin flip.
envelopes inside an actual lottery spinning thing. And that year, everyone wanted Patrick Ewing, who was pretty much guaranteed to be a superstar player. But at the time, the Knicks in particular weren't a great team.
He's like an all-superstar, super all-star.
So when it turns out that at the start of the lottery, their envelope was bent at the corner, and that was the one that David Stern ended up picking, it created a huge conspiracy that he rigged the whole thing so that one of the biggest teams could have a start at one of the best.
Why would he rig it for the Knicks, though?
If the bend wasn't enough, though, there's also rumors that the envelope was frozen, so he could feel which one was the right envelope. And with a draft lottery system like this,
how's he gonna open it
for these conspiracies
if it's frozen?
And whether it was rigged or not, you gotta believe that Ewing ending up in New York was the exact outcome the league wanted. But by 2003, the lottery system was fixed, and that was the year LeBron was coming into the NBA. That season, the Nuggets and the Cavs finished with the...
Well, I don't know if fixed is the right word in this situation. You said it was fixed. So is it like not broken?
Worst record in the league. And what better scenario would there be for the NBA than James ending up in his hometown team of Cleveland,
so it was
which
fixed.
Desperately needed a superstar player? Well, there wasn't a better possible outcome. And the Cavs did win the lottery and picked LeBron first overall.
Guys, I need you to let me know in the comment section below if I'm right or wrong about this. The other day I got into a heated Twitter debate with some Cleveland Cavalier fans. And I pretty much went on the record to say that the only reason they have any sort of, like, basketball relevancy is because LeBron James, that's just happened to be where LeBron James' parents smashed at and had baby LeBron. So if that never happened, then they would never got no championship, and they would never got LeBron. I don't know, man. I think maybe I was a little bit harsh there, but just wanted to get that off my chest.
The same thing happened with Derrick Rose. The only difference this time was that the
Bulls
had the 9th worst record in the league that season.
I apologize.
They had only a 2% chance of winning the lottery, but they did, which is a little suspicious. But then to follow that up, LeBron leaves the Cavs, and they again become the worst team in the NBA. And that very next year,
they had Mario Moon
with a pick that had a 2.8% chance to win it, and drafted Kyrie Irving. They stayed bad, and not only did they win it again in 2013, but they won it for a 3rd time in 3 years in 2014. And the conspiracy here is that the league gifted the Cavs valuable assets to either get them out of their terrible slump, or to give them assets to lure LeBron James back eventually, which is what they ended up doing.
That would be my guess.
Suspicious enough that in 2011, 13, and 14, these drafts were considered to be rigged, but in between there, 2012 was too. So that's a full 4 years.
But out of all those years that the Cavaliers didn't get it, well, I'm sorry, that 2012, like, that one had, like, the best player, right? That was Anthony Davis. So, like, Kyrie's cool, Andrew Wiggins is cool, but they were going to rig any of them, they should have 2012
stretch, and is considered rigged because in 2010
so I don't know about that
the now New Orleans Pelicans team was sold to the NBA, which led to that Chris Paul trade. He was eventually traded though, and the smallest market team in the league was now left without a superstar, which wasn't great news for
wow, it is rigged. Holy shit.
In 2012, the Pelicans won the draft lottery and were able to draft Anthony Davis.
This shit's rigged.
But the conspiracy here is that since the team really wasn't wasn't looking compelling for anyone to buy, did the league secretly promise the first overall pick to Benson for buying the team, or did he just get lucky? Well, it wouldn't be the first time it happened, because back in the 90s when the Orlando Magic got sold, they won the next 2 draft lotteries. The first one gave them Shaq, and they won the second one with only a 1.7% chance. And it's not crazy at all to assume that luck played a part in some of these draft conspiracies happening. But then you think about the fact that over the years all of these things happened is what makes things suspicious. What are the chances that the perfect team got lucky this many times? Plus, with the draft lottery system they have today, it'd be a lot harder to rig the process. But I mean, the whole process is behind closed doors, so would it really? But that's the NBA's first major conspiracy. For the next one, we have to change gears because it has to do with Michael Jordan's gambling addiction. And at first, from what I knew about this conspiracy, I was sure it was just a myth. But after reading more...
What's the point of gambling if you're already like a multi-trillionaire? Because this is like the excitement of gambling, like winning money. But like if you already got all the money in the world... It's like playing with like Monopoly money. Like it's just not really even like real at that point. So I don't really get that one.
There really is a lot of evidence to back it up. Now, if you're unaware, this theory is that Michael Jordan's first retirement was a secret 2-year suspension by the league due to his gambling addiction. To really save his reputation for when he came back. A similar theory, though, also says that his dad's passing in 1993 was actually a job done to settle some of MJ's gambling debts. And we'll get to that one, but let's first start with...
Whoa, yeah, start with that one, man! You can't say you can't just lay that out on the plate right there, bro, and say we'll get to that one later, man. I'm a fat boy that likes cake, bro. Like, you show me that cake, I want to eat it. Like, we gotta start with vegetables here? Okay.
Now, there's no doubt that Jordan truly did have a gambling problem, and that's a fact. And there's a ton of stories and evidence out there to back it up.
I remember being the old lady.
Like the fact that in 1992 it was discovered that a dealer had in his possession a check from him for $57,000, and Jordan admitted in court that it was payment from gambling losses from a single weekend. So I mean, that shows right there that his gambling wasn't always done.
That's a first quarter game for him though, $57,000. Probably not back then, but...
And to prove his problem even further, a guy named Richard Equinas said that he once won over $1 million from golf from Michael Jordan. Or there's even another story that Michael was spotted in a casino in 1993 on the morning of Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So he clearly had an issue. But the Bulls won the title that year.
Maybe it's relaxing to him.
Soon after passed away, and right about at that same time, he went under an investigation by the NBA for his gambling to see if he broke any league rules. Then soon after that, Jordan retired from the NBA, and at one point during his speech, he said, "If David Stern lets me back in the league, I may come back one day." Which is kind of a weird thing to say given the situation.
Okay.
It's not like the greatest player of all time would have to have the commissioner's permission to return, unless there was a sort of suspension going on.
Yeah, like a retirement clause.
Also dropped the gambling investigation right after his retirement, not saying there was no point of pursuing it any further, but saying that he in fact did nothing wrong. Maybe because the job was already done. Plus, it makes it a little more suspicious that it's...
Well, I want to know, did he gamble during his 2-year retirement? Like, cause if he was gambling during then it's like, okay, well, he didn't, like, retire because he broke rules. Like, I don't know, man. I guess it's really kind of confusing how I'm trying to articulate my thought process right here. But if he stopped gambling, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's not like he retired and went.
Maybe you know what I'm saying.
He left and still played a professional sport. But I'm not saying I fully believe in this conspiracy. I'm just laying out all the evidence that makes this a conspiracy. And Jordan's dad did pass away, so it makes sense that he needed a break from everything. On top of the fact that it was always his dad's dream for his son to play professional baseball, so that was Michael Jordan's reasoning for playing baseball.
Right,
as
nothing
far as
wrong
his
with
dad's
that.
passing being because of gambling debts, though, honestly, I don't believe in this one because, I mean, Jordan had the money to pay anyone off, and the job was done by 2 teenagers who had a completely different story than it being about finding Michael Jordan's dad and taking care of him. But I will say there is some fishy information surrounding the situation that makes it an interesting topic if you do believe in this theory. A lot of the info in the 2 young teenagers' stories check out, but there's 2 major things that don't. Like the fact that there was 21 days that passed before anyone reported James Jordan Sr. missing, and within those 21 days was his 57th birthday that no one saw or spoke to him.
Oh wow, you see that? Yeah, that right there. That right there, man. Also, he got the same birthday as my girlfriend. Just gonna point that one out real quick. But yeah. It's suspicious.
And the other questionable piece
suspicious.
of evidence is the fact that James Jordan's body was cremated 11 days after his passing as a John Doe before the body was ever identified. And that seems like a pretty quick process for an unidentified person because, I mean, maybe there was something to hide. Again, I have to say I don't believe this theory is true, but info like this does leave the door open for these conspiracies to be possible. There is one that everyone should believe, though, because it's the most convincing conspiracy.
Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks
actually watch it unfold.
In the finals.
And you're probably familiar with it. It took place during Game 6 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals between the Lakers and the Kings. The Lakers had just won 2 straight championships, but in 2002 they found themselves down 3-2 against the Kings. Now, most people were convinced that the Kings were the better overall team, but we were headed towards a Kings and Nets NBA Finals in 2002.
Yikes.
So it looks like the refs stepped in here to prevent that from happening. It was the start of the third quarter, the game was close, and the Kings' best defensive center in Vlade Divac had just gotten his 4th foul, and his backup Scott Pollard had 3. So Pollard was in the game and proceeded to get fouled out in 11 total minutes of play for this, and this.
Well, that's some Darko shit right there, bro.
Worst calls ever, forcing Divac to come back into the game, where we saw fouls called on this, and Divac eventually got fouled out.
Well, Vlade Divac, like in today's NBA, is like Maxi Kleber. It's like there ain't no way Maxi's going to stop Shaquille O'Neal back then either. So, I mean, they probably are fouls. You know, I bet the Shaq got hit a lot of times on opportunities that was real fouls and never got called just because he was a big boy.
For going for a loose ball. The
you know what I'm saying?
Would then go on to shoot 27 free throws in the 4th quarter.
Maybe they called it straight.
The last 16 out of 18 points from the line, compared to the Kings' total 9 attempts.
James Harden, that's the first quarter for James Harden.
Running over Mike Bibby, and the Lakers winning the game and eventually the series in Game 7. And I mean, again, this seems like a case of the league doing anything they could to prevent 2 small market teams, and the Nets and the Kings facing in the NBA Finals. I mean, how many times have we ever seen 2 small market teams face in the finals? It was just much better for business to have the Lakers beat the Nets and complete the three-peat.
So and if you guys know that I'm pro small market team, and I really do think a lot of stuff goes on, but I don't know if I'm convinced about this one.
It makes sense why the league would do this.
I think Shaq and Kobe just took care of business.
The example here that conspires that the NBA is rigged is obviously the 2006 NBA Finals, where the Mavs won games 1 and 2, but from there on out, everything changed. When Dwayne Wade would go on to take 27 free throws over games 3 and 4, attempt 25 in game 5, the same number as the entire Mavs team took that game.
This is literally
up 3 games
averages for James Harden. Nobody talks about it.
Mark Cuban ran on the court to scream in the ref's face, then turned around to David Stern and a group of officials in the stands and did the same thing. It changed nothing though, because Wade still took 21 free throws in Game 6 to win the series, giving him a total of 97 free throws and an average of 18 attempts a game in their 4 wins, which led Mark Cuban to actually putting in an FBI investigation. The case was eventually dropped, but the
Mark
FBI
Cuban definitely would do that.
In that process, and that was the case of Tim Donaghy. Now, most of you know Tim Donaghy as the banished referee who served over a year in prison.
Man, this shit is all rigged, man. It really is. I don't know. I feel like my inner basketball loveness inside me is just trying to be like, it ain't rigged, but then there's part of me where it's like, well, it probably is rigged.
And some people get the idea that he was banned for fixing games, but he was actually only banished and jailed for manipulating point totals of games to win bets that he placed on them. And what makes this an actual conspiracy is the fact that in early 2019, the NBA came outright and denied that Donaghy ever fixed any games.
Well, did they have
which
proof?
Would seem like a claim to protect the integrity of the
Did they have proof?
Now, Donaghy has fully admitted to manipulating point totals to win bets, but denied ever really fixing a game. But he's also refused to take a polygraph test that would ask him that question because he said he knows he would fail it, which could be because he actually fixed them or because betting is so close in line with that. But either way, it's suspicious. And the league did research into his case, and they found that he never made any outlandish calls that purposefully changed the outcome of games. And if they were trying to hide it, of course that would be the outcome. But then there were other research who found that foul calls favored the team with better betting odds 77% of the time.
Just take, I don't know. I feel like you should just take the lying test. Like, all you gotta do is piss on the test, and it's gonna give you the false results that you're looking for. So it's easy to pass one of those anyway. Man, Favored his best 70. Okay.
In the 30 competitive games that he reffed in that stretch. And his calls favored the team that he bet on 23 out of the 30 times.
Right.
Which led to him winning 80% of the total bets that he placed.
Can't win 100% when you rig it.
That still doesn't prove that he fixed any of the games. He was just trying to win bets. But whether he did it on purpose or not, him making foul calls on teams that he bet on so often had to affect a lot of outcomes of a lot of different games. So he might not have done it intentionally, but I think there's no doubt that some teams definitely benefited from Tim Donaghy's side business, and others probably suffered because of it. I also think it's very clear that the NBA is trying to cover this one up, which is what makes it a conspiracy.
Yeah, I could open a whole can of
worms, unintentionally fixing
and we ain't talking fishing,
even though he's been so vocal about the other things he did, is because it'd probably be an entirely separate prison sentence than the one he got for just betting on the games. But comment and let me know what you guys think about this one. This was the first 5 conspiracy theories.
That was very interesting. I do think that, you know, unless that's why I'm kind of like I'm pro like robots in like sports and stuff, because robots would get the calls 100% of the time. It's like they don't have their own personal gain, you know, to really rig their call or change their judgment in any way. Because I mean, that's the fact of the matter, is that it is human error that just happens. You know, whether it's rigged or not, human error happens in sports all the time. So I think I can think of a few. Trey Burke did block Peyton Siva in the championship game. Kelvin Johnson did catch the ball versus, I believe it was the Bears. Yeah, that's all I got is just Michigan sports related. I'm just joking, man. No, that's the end of the video right there, guys. That was very interesting, though. Can't wait for part 2. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out Austin's channel, link in the description below, and peace out.